We're here with Princeton University Professor of Philosophy Emeritus, Harry Frankfurt, whose most recent book is on bullshit. Professor Frankfurt, thanks for popping in today to tell us about bullshit. I'll confess I haven't read all of it. It's a little on the longish side. So I'm hoping that you can just sort of take us to the root of the matter. I understand that this has its inception in an essay you wrote several years ago, and it's become something of a cult classic. What first brought you, a professional philosopher, to bullshit?
It was largely because I think that respect for the truth and a concern for the truth, these are among the foundations of civilization. And I was, for a long time, kind of disturbed by the lack of respect and concern for the truth that I seem to observe in much of the speech and writing that was being produced. And bullshit is one of the deformities of these values. So I thought, try to find out more about it, try to find out what it is. You know, I was trained as an analytic philosopher, and analytic philosophy is characterized by a special concern for clarification of concepts. And this was a concept that seemed to me to be an important one. It referred to a significant feature of our culture, and not only a significant feature, but a feature that, in my view, posed certain dangers to the foundations of civilization. So I was interested in analyzing the concept and trying to find out what exactly we're talking about when we talk about this.
What is your theory of bullshit? What is bullshit?
Well, it consists in a lack of concern for the difference between truth and falsity. The motivation of the bullshitter is not to say things that are true or even to say things that are false, but he's serving some other purpose. And the question of whether what he says is true or false is really irrelevant to his pursuit of that ambition. The bullshitter is not necessarily a liar. What he says may very well be true, and he may not think that it's false. I was careful to try to make a distinction between, make clear the differences, as I understand it, between bullshitters and liars.
And you actually find bullshitters in some way more reprehensible than liars.
I don't know if they're more reprehensible exactly, but bullshit is somehow a more insidious threat to the values that I'm concerned with than lying is, because the liar knows what the truth is, and he's concerned with trying to keep people away from the truth. This in itself shows a certain respect for the value of truth and the importance of truth, whereas a bullshitter doesn't care at all. So his stance is a greater threat to respect and concern for the truth than the liar's is. The liar wants to substitute for the truth something that he knows or believes to be false. So the difference between truth and falsity is very important to him, whereas to the bullshitter it's not important at all. That's why I think that there's a more insidious threat to concern and respect for truth and bullshit than in lying.
Right. Now, is it difficult as a philosopher, normally concerned with truth and falsehood or ethical behavior and unethical behavior, to treat a kind of behavior that's completely indifferent to those categories at all? Is that a particular challenge?
It is a challenge. I do think that there's a question that I didn't deal with in my essay that I think is worth pursuing, which is our attitude towards bullshit, why we are so tolerant of it, because I think we are very tolerant of it, much more tolerant of it than of lying. Lying strikes us as somehow a violation. We feel that the liar is injuring us in some way, or at least threatening to injure us. We don't feel that way so much about the bullshitter. And I don't really understand exactly why our attitudes towards these two deformities of respect for the truth, why our attitudes are so different in the two cases. I think I raised this question in the essay and said I was leaving the problem as an exercise for the reader. And so far I haven't received any reports of the results of these exercises.
Now, does bullshit require a kind of creativity or an imagination that just a simple insertion of a falsehood doesn't?
Well, I suggested that it does, and that's where the notion of the bullshit artist comes in, that the liar is limited by his commitment to saying something that conflicts with the truth. So there's a constraint upon him that he has to respect. Whereas the bullshitter who doesn't care about truth can go anywhere he likes. And there's a kind of a panoramic view that he can take that the liar can't take, because the liar is limited to inserting in the specific place in the system of beliefs a false belief for a true one. Whereas the bullshitter, as I say, can go anywhere he likes and draw any kind of picture, any kind of panorama of beliefs that serves his purpose.